Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? Hey, Pete Vargas here, and I'm about to introduce you to a secret weapon. Everybody needs a secret weapon. And back in 2015, I found this secret weapon, and now you guys get the chance to be with my secret weapon. Hey, as you're chiming in here today, where are you chiming in from? I see you from all across the world. I see Canada, I see Tennessee, I see Australia, Wyoming, Michigan, Massachusetts, Georgia, Tulsa, Chicago, Gilbert, Arizona, California, Milwaukee, Vermont, San Antonio. We got folks tuning in from North Carolina, Nigeria, Sweden, the Philippines. We got folks from Orlando, Indianapolis, Kenya, Iowa. Man, what a crowd. We've got folks from everywhere. I'm so excited about today. My name is Pete Vargas, and what I want you to know is that the common theme that all great entrepreneurs and all great leaders, or the majority of entrepreneurs and the majority of great leaders have, is the skill set of how to communicate. And you see, what happens is when we communicate, we think, man, if people liked what I had to say, they'll clap for me. And that's what that determines my success. That's not what determines your success. What determines your success is, do they connect with you? Do they feel like you know something better that can help change their lives? And do they convert? Do they vote? Do they donate? Do they become a customer of yours? You see, lots of entrepreneurs use different sales and marketing techniques all across the world. Some like online events, some like networking events, some like challenges, some like phone calls, some love funnels, some love running ads. None of them agree with all of the sales and marketing tactics that are to be used. But let me tell you what they do agree with. They agree that when you're a powerful communicator, that you can land more business from that communication. Here's what I want you to know. We just, as of recently, had the opportunity to have 27,000 people sign up to audition because they wanted to become the next great speaker. Now, if you know anything about us, we want you to use speaking to grow your business. And if you're not good on a stage, you're not going to grow your business. But when you're good on a stage, you can get more business in 1 hour than you have your entire career. That possibility exists. Ask Gary Brecka, who went through the same training and for 10 years ran a brick and mortar business. And after applying the secrets that he learned from what you are about to learn, he landed 1,800 customers in 1 hour, more customers than his brick and mortar business did in 10 years. That's the power. And let me tell you what, today, whether you've heard this, you've not heard it, you've heard it once or twice, or you've heard it a lot. This is what I want you to know. Today, it comes with different perspective. Because we just went all across America, and I know we have an international crowd here. I'm excited to be able to open it up to international. We went all across America, and we had 27,000 people sign up to audition. We had 2,000 actually that we could audition. 165 of those businesses made it to Miami with the golden ticket, and 3 of them walked away to be on the biggest stage of their life, where they're going to get the opportunity to see massive things come as a result of that stage because of the power of them communicating. And I'm going to tell you what, we got the chance, and the person who's hosting this training today got the chance to see 165, probably hundreds, but got to see 165. And he can tell you, and he will tell you today, what stands out from the great and the good, what stands out from the great and the average. That's what you're going to learn today. So in the next 12 months, you can go build your business. So I'm excited about today. You guys excited about today? You guys excited about today? Yeah. I'm excited too. I got to tell you, I met this man back in 2015. I had never been on a stage. I was the guy that was putting everybody on the stage. Our students have now been on 750,000 stages in the last 4 years. So I was really good at that, but I wasn't good at being the one on the stage. And the time came where it was time for me to be the one on the stage. And unlike a lot of you probably, or maybe like some of you, I was afraid of the stage. I was overweight. I was 330 pounds. I had never been the one on the stage. I knew how to get the great messengers on the stage, but I never was the one on it. And one of my friends called me and he said, you need to know Pat Quinn. What Pat is to speaking, what you are to stages, Pat is to speaking in Signature Talk. I said, cool. I want to meet Pat. It just so happened that I was in Wisconsin with my grandmother at the time, and my friend said he actually lives in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That night, Pat and I are at a sports bar having a conversation, and that night I knew Pat had to be the one to train all of our students. And at that time, we had 0 students. But I knew he was the one that needed to put his hands on our students. He's the one that needed to speak into their signature talks because he's gotten the chance to help me. He's helped my wife. He's helped my son. Dang, when we were in downtown New York, he helped Damon John. Damon John was kind of leaning back like this, like some of you are right now. Like some of you who have your camera on, but the next 45 minutes could change your life today. And within 5 minutes of Pat training in downtown New York, Damon's leaning in with a pen and a paper, taking notes, blown away, saying, Pat, this is genius. Damon's team blown away, the results and the outcomes that they began to see on the stage. And so today, because of that phone conversation that I had and that meeting I've had, Pat has now been responsible for helping tens of thousands of our customers, not 0, tens of thousands. We're really close to being near 100,000 customers. You want to know the number one tool that we've used? The number one thing that we've used in our business? Take a guess in the chat. Take a guess in the chat. The number one thing that we used to get those customers, yes, it was stages, but it wouldn't have happened without a signature talk. Without one great signature talk. So I've seen Pat work with my family. I've seen him work with Damon John. The next day after Damon, we worked with a powerful woman who we have a non-disclosure agreement with that we can't say names. I've seen it consistently, but I know what Pat loves is he loves working with entrepreneurs to dial in what we believe is the greatest marketing tool that you will have for the rest of your life. Would you guys welcome to the stage my friend, Mr. Pat Quinn? Come on, get up for Pat. Let's go, PQ. You ready?
I am ready, Pete. You know I'm excited about today because you know the power of a signature talk. I know the power of a signature talk, and now we're going to share with everyone not just the power of a signature talk, but how to create a high-converting signature talk. And so this next 45 minutes is going to be absolutely game-changing for anybody who has a message they want to get out to the world, for anybody who has a cause or a product or a business that they want to grow. The signature talk will be the number one sales and marketing tool that you have if you design it correctly. And so let's roll right into it. I am Pat Quinn. If we haven't had a chance to meet before, I actually didn't get my start as a professional speaker. I got my start as a professional magician and worked magic professionally for 10 years. Then I decided I needed to get a real job and became a high school math teacher and taught math for 12 years. During that time, I picked up an advanced degree in how adults learn. And so I really bring 2 things to the table. The first is a little bit of stagecraft from my years of doing magic. And the second is a real understanding of how someone who's listening to you, whether that's one person sitting across the table or 100 people sitting in an audience, how do they listen, learn, and remember what you say? I've been fortunate to work with some of the greatest speakers in the world on their signature talks, but most of the people that I work with are not professional speakers. Most of the people I work with don't even call themselves speakers. Most of the people that I work with are business owners, people who have a message, people who have a cause that they want to get out to the world and move other people. And a signature talk is the fastest, most effective way to do that. I only have one measure of success. My measure of success is not that you would get a standing ovation or even that people would come up to you and say that you're a great speaker. My measure of success is, does the person who's listening to you want to take the next step with you? Does the person who's listening to you want to go further with you? You get to choose what that next step is. That could be to schedule a phone call, have the next conversation, download something for free, or it could be something that they pay you for. Sign up for my course, sign up for my class, sign up for my coaching, buy my products and services. You get to choose. But what percent of the audience says yes to taking that next step? That is what we call a high converting signature talk. And so today, I'm going to show you step by step how to design the perfect signature talk. A signature talk is not how you regularly communicate to your fans, people who already know you. A signature talk is how you introduce yourself to new people who haven't heard you before, to new people who may not even know your name. How do you introduce yourself to them and let them know what you do and how you do it? And so let's get rolling here. I've got some slides to share on the secrets to a high converting signature talk. Well, first up, let's take a look at the impact that our students have been having since 2018. Our students have won 749,000 stages, impacted 203 million lives, and produced over $142 million in revenue. It's an incredible impact that our students are having. And you know how they're having it? By consistently using the one tool that I'm going to teach you today, the signature talk. Grant Cardone says, if you want to get your ideas to market, you have to be a speaker. And after I heard Pete talk about this methodology, this is when I let him know I've left hundreds of $1 million on the table. Dr. Kaz, Michael Hyatt, Stormy Wellington, all agree that understanding this signature talk methodology will help you get leads, help you get customers, and help you make revenue. And so that is our goal, to create the perfect signature talk. And the very first questions I have to ask you about your signature talk are what we call the clarity questions. And the clarity questions are essential to you having the greatest marketing tool in your business. If we get clarity on these issues and put together the perfect signature talk, you are going to be able to use this on your sales pages, on videos, for your team, communicating with your team. Wouldn't it be great to get all of your team on the same page? You can use it in one-on-one conversations, one-to-many conversations, online, offline, and on social media. That's how it works. The first clarity question is, what is the problem that you solve for your audience? Now, when I ask most people, what is the problem that you solve for your audience? Most people don't give me a problem. Most people give me a solution. When I ask health coaches, what is the problem that you solve for your audience? Most of them say healthy eating. Well, healthy eating is not a problem. Healthy eating is a solution. When I ask financial advisors, what is the problem you solve for your audience? Financial advisors often say, well, a great retirement. Well, a great retirement's not a problem. A great retirement is actually a solution. So what is the problem that you solve for your audience? And here's the hardest part. Can you state it in the language of the consumer, not the language of the expert? Because I know this, everybody who's watching this today, everybody who's watching this is an expert in your own area. You're an expert in your own topic. You think about it all the time. You read about it all the time. You watch videos about it all the time. Some of you make videos about it. And when you think about one topic that much, the words that you use start to change. Your language starts to change. One of the hardest things for any expert to do is remember what words you used to use to describe the problem back before you had a solution to the problem. But if you can get this right, and by the way, you'll know you have it right because the person sitting in front of you will immediately begin nodding their head and leaning into you. Happens all the time. It works online, it works on stage, it works one-on-one, it works in front of a crowd. When you describe the problem in the language, in the words that the person in front of you was just thinking about the problem, they kind of are like, oh my gosh, you are living inside my head. How'd you know I was just talking to my wife about that last night? Like they can't stop themselves. They start nodding their head and leaning in. And so if you can get the words right, you are going to have great clarity on the problem that you solve. So my question for you, the night before someone would hear you speak, the night before someone would know your name, what were they worried about? What were they laying awake at night worried about? What were they complaining to their spouse or their best friend about? And what words did they use to describe it? I would love for you right now to type into the chat, what is the problem that you think you solve for your audience? And police each other, watch each other for expert words. Let me give you a tip. If you're using the word mindset, you're doing it wrong. If you're using the word mindset, you're doing it wrong, because the person who has a mindset problem wouldn't actually say the word mindset. The person who has a mindset problem would say other things. They'd say, I don't have any friends, nobody likes me, I can't sell, and I'm having a streak of bad luck. But they wouldn't actually use the word mindset. The same is true with limiting beliefs. If you tell someone they have limiting beliefs, they're going to say, oh, I don't have limiting beliefs. It's an expert word. They might say, I can't sell, there's a limit to how far I can go. I'm not that good at things. And you're like, oh, you have limiting beliefs. It's an expert word. What words would the customer use to describe it? So let's take a look at a few of these. Sarah says, overwhelm. That's a great word. You solve the problem of overwhelm. Stuck. Deb helps the problem of stuck. Sean solves the problem of, I need to save more for retirement. Now, that's just a great answer, because some people would get into fancy words like required minimum distributions, Roth IRAs versus traditional IRAs. And that's not really what people say. What people say is, I need to save more for retirement, or I'm behind in my retirement savings. Gary says he helps people who are not making enough sales. Isn't that simple language? That's the simple language. Damon says, running out of money. I'm running out of money. That is such simple language. Those are good ones. Bill says, I solve financial stress for people. Now let's look at that one, Bill. Does the person who's under financial stress say, I'm under financial stress? I don't think so. I think the person who is under financial stress probably says a lot of things. I'm not sleeping well at night. I can't get ahead. My credit card bills keep piling up. Every time I get a little bit in savings, an emergency happens and I have to spend it all. My debt is increasing. I think they say a lot of things. I don't think they say, I am under financial stress. I think that's how you describe it. But what are the words that they actually say? And so, once again, what is the problem that you solve? And can you state it in the language of the consumer, not the language of the expert? The second clarity question is, who is your ideal audience? So the first one is, what is the problem that you solve? And the second one is, who is your ideal audience? Now, I know many of you think that the message that you have to share is perfect for every living human being in the world. And I hope you get there one day. But that's not where you should start. You should always start with a more narrow niche audience. Okay? And so here are some questions to narrow down your audience. Who has the problem that you described? Who has it really bad? Like, who is that pain so bad that they would pay to make the problem go away? Who would get a huge ROI or return on investment if that problem didn't exist anymore? So we were looking in the chat. I was looking at somebody who helps somebody who's struggling to get enough sales. If you could solve that problem for them and they would get more sales, woo, that would be a huge ROI. They would get a lot of money for that because they would be making more sales. They'd have more customers. So they would pay to make that problem go away. And then I'm going to give you one last thing to think about with your ideal audience. I call it the lowest hanging fruit. I always think that the best audience, the lowest hanging fruit, is a group that you belong to. It's a great place to start. When I first started helping people with their communication, the first group that I started helping were public school teachers. Why? Because I was one. I already spoke their language. I already knew their problems. I already had trust. Is there a group that you belong to? If you're a veteran, you could serve veterans. If you're a mom, you could serve moms. If you're an entrepreneur, you could serve entrepreneurs. Is there a group that you belong to that would already have trust? You already speak their language and you already know their problems. That's often a great group to start with. And so the two clarity questions are, what is the problem that you solve? And who is the audience that you serve? And if you can get those two questions answered, you are going to be well on your way to writing a great signature talk. But if you can't answer those two questions, you're always going to struggle because your talk is going to be all over the place. It's not going to solve a single problem, and it's not directed toward one audience. I'd love to see in the chat right now, who is the audience that you want to serve? This is one of my favorite parts of this training, because I get to see exactly the audience that you care about, that has a place in your heart. I get to see the power of signature talks. And so we've got somebody here, Gramps Meadows, who says, I'm a combat veteran, and women realtors, I see that. HR pros, Denise is here serving parents. That's awesome. Susan is serving stepmoms. Tucker is serving nonprofit executive directors and CEOs. Thank you for doing that. I never want to overlook the fact that there is an audience out there struggling. An audience out there that is struggling with the problem that you solve. And the only thing separating them from you is your ability to communicate effectively what you do and how you do it. The only thing stopping you from helping them is you having a great signature talk. Michelle is helping seniors who've lost their spouses. Claudia is helping children. Juan is helping creative entrepreneurs. Miguel is helping high school students. Razek is helping small business owners. Jerry's helping parents of student athletes. We've got somebody here helping visionaries, grandparents, entrepreneurs of faith, single moms. The only thing stopping those struggling single moms from getting help from you is effective communication about what you do and how you do it. The only thing stopping you is you having a signature talk. So let's get into how to design the perfect signature talk. How do you design the one talk? A talk that's flexible enough to be done in 5 minutes or 45 minutes. A talk that's flexible enough to be done one-on-one or in front of 1,000 people. A talk that's flexible enough to be done online, on Zoom, on a webinar, on a podcast, or in the room with people, in your living room, in a conference room, in a boardroom, or a hotel ballroom. How do you design that one talk? Well, I want to introduce you to the Story Braid framework. The Story Braid framework is a 4-part design that is the very best way to create a high converting signature talk. Some people, when they have the chance to communicate, start with their content, thinking that if they're the smartest person in the room, that will really help them win over the customer. Some people start with their offer, thinking, I have to sell it to you right now. Neither of those are the right place to start. The right place to start is with your heart, with an opening heart connection story. So the first part of the 4-part Story Braid framework is an opening heart story. The purpose is to connect with the hearts of your audience. After that, then you can do what we call the head section, which is the content that you're going to teach to help people. 3 to 5 critical steps that the customer can take. After that, you're going to have the hands section, which is your call to action, telling the audience what you want them to do next. But don't stop there. A lot of people end their presentations with a call to action, and that is a mistake. You always want to finish with heart. Notice that we start and end with heart. We bookend it with heart because the connection is so important. So after your tactical call to action, we are actually going to do an emotional call to action, which will allow you to connect to a different set of buyers in the room, a different set of decision makers in the room, the emotional decision makers as well. If you have 5 minutes in front of someone, do these 4 things. If you have 45 minutes in front of someone, do these 4 things. If you're in front of one person, do these 4 things. If you're in front of 1,000 people, do these 4 things. This is how you put together the perfect signature talk. So in the next 20 minutes, what I'd like to do is walk you step by step through each of these 4 parts of the perfect signature talk and give you some things that you can do so that you can reach more people and get more people to take the next step with you. This 4-part story braid framework changes the way you will think about communication because we're actually going to help people, not just tease them. And it all begins with connection and our opening heart story. The most important part of your presentation is not up for debate. The most important part of your presentation is the opening heart story. In the first 5 minutes, you have 3 things you need to do. You need to be ordinary, you need to be extraordinary, and you need to show your why. Ordinary means I'm just like you. I've struggled with what you've struggled with. I've walked in your shoes. Extraordinary means I've solved a problem that you still have. Extraordinary does not mean that your life is perfect. As a matter of fact, if you stand up and say your life is perfect, the audience is not going to like you or connect with you. We've all heard speakers who are a bit too perfect, and we don't like them. We want you to be ordinary, but also show that you have a solution to a problem that the audience still has. The third thing you need to do is show your why. There's a reason you're here. There's a reason you just typed into the chat that you want to serve that audience. There's a reason you've dedicated time and energy for this audience. Show us your why. The fastest and easiest way to be ordinary, extraordinary, and show your why is through episodic storytelling. Episodic storytelling is not to read us your resume. Nobody cares what your last 3 jobs were. Episodic storytelling is not to tell us your entire life story. Episodic storytelling is to take us into a room. Take us into a room where we can see what you see, hear what you hear, feel what you feel. Episodic storytelling creates an emotional connection to the audience. One of the people who we've helped with their signature talk is Lavana Roth. When Lavana came to us, she used to begin her presentations by telling the audience that she grew up very poor. We changed the beginning of Lavana's presentation. When Lavana was 16 years old, her family got evicted from their apartment, and a friend said, "You can come live with us." When they got to the friend's house, the friend said, "Well, we don't actually have an extra bedroom for you to sleep in, but you're welcome to sleep in this abandoned chicken coop that's attached to our garage." And as a 16-year-old girl, Lavana walks us into the abandoned chicken coop for the very first time. And you can see what she sees. You can hear what she hears. You can smell what she smells. I've watched Lavana give this presentation a number of times in front of audiences, both in person and online. And at that moment in her presentation, you can hear a pin drop. And at that moment in her presentation, that audience will go anywhere with her. Certainly, they'll listen to the next 45 minutes, but more importantly, they want to do business with her. They want to cheer for her. They want to be on her side. You can do this. You can create that emotional connection with an audience, but you have to take us into a moment. You have to use episodic storytelling. So my question for you is, what is the moment that you're going to take us into? What is the moment that you're going to allow us to experience in real time with you? Can you show us that you're ordinary, that you have walked in our shoes and felt our pain? Can you show us your why? And can you do it all by telling us a story that will connect with our hearts? That is episodic storytelling. It is the key to connecting at the beginning of a presentation. And I want to speak to a few people right now who are watching this, because there's some people out here right now who are watching this and saying, "Yeah, but I don't have a story like that. I don't have a story like that. You have better stories. Pete has such a good story. Pat, oh, you have all these stories. I don't have a story like that." Here's my encouragement for you. Ordinary stories are better than extraordinary stories. Ordinary stories will help more people than extraordinary stories. Look, I coach 2 different astronauts. I coach 6 different Olympians. I coach a guy who's been to the top of Mount Everest. And when he tells that story, not the base camp, like the real top, when he tells that story about getting to the top of Mount Everest, how many people in the room can relate? Nobody. Nobody else in the room has done it. Now, I coach another person who tells a story about arguing with their spouse about whether the toilet paper should come out over the top of the roll or under the bottom of the roll. When they tell that story, how many people in the room can relate to that story? Just about everybody in the room. Ordinary stories are better than extraordinary stories. If you have a 1 in a million story, you're going to help about 1 in a million people. But if you have a 1 in every household story, you're going to help a lot of people. And so I want to encourage you that ordinary stories are better than extraordinary stories. And the second word of encouragement I want to give you is that your story is enough. You have experiences, you have knowledge that you have gained, you have life that you have lived that can help other people. You don't need to embellish it. You don't need to be jealous of other people's stories. You were put on earth for a purpose to help other people. And I think today might be the first step of you finding that purpose, finding that voice that can help other people. And if we can structure this talk in such a way that your story can be told, your truth can get out there, the right people will be drawn to it. Not everyone, but the right people will be drawn to it, into your world, so that you can help them further. And so your story is enough. I don't want anybody watching this to think you don't have a story or your story isn't enough. Your story is enough. And today is the day that we get out there and start helping people with it, that we get your truth out there and we start attracting the people to it that need to hear your story. That is the first part of the 4-part story braid framework, the opening heart story. After that, you should always go to the head section or the content section of your presentation. Now, the content section of your presentation, we call the head section, and it always starts with road mapping. Road mapping is previewing for the audience what you're going to teach for them today. And it sounds like this. And so today, I'm going to teach you these 3 things. You always let the audience know what you're going to teach them. And here's a pro ninja tip. Oh, did you see that? I just Scooby-Dooed you. What's a Scooby-Doo? A Scooby-Doo is when you have something really important to say. If you have something really important to say to your audience, do not pound the podium. Do not point your finger at the audience, and certainly don't yell. When you have something really important to say to the audience, just Scooby-Doo. Look left, look right, and then drop your head about 6 inches, and you will watch the audience lean into you. It happens online. It happens in person. When you have something important to say, just Scooby-Doo. So here's a pro ninja tip to help you with your road mapping. When you're doing your road mapping, always include a time element. Always include a time element in your road mapping, which means instead of saying tonight or today, I'm going to teach you these 3 things, you should say in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to teach you these 3 things. Always let the audience know how long you're going to be there. That way they don't have to worry about it. You're eliminating interference, which is anything that comes between you and the audience receiving your message. Your content should be divided up into sections. I like 3 sections or 4 sections. Why? Because that's what people can remember. 3 sections and 4 sections. That's why phone numbers are broken up into 3 digits and 4 digits, because that's what people can remember. And here's the most important thing. Always give real solutions. Always give real solutions. There's certain types of presentations that people do not enjoy and they don't convert well. One type of presentation that doesn't convert well is a presentation that is all about the problem. If you're halfway through the presentation and you're still describing the problem, we have a problem. They already knew they had a problem. They thought you had a solution, but apparently you don't. Another type of presentation that doesn't convert well into customers is a presentation that just teases the solution instead of actually giving real solutions. I want you to really help the audience. I want you to really think about what would help the audience. We often call this your proprietary process. It's your framework of moving people from where they are to where they want to be, from ordinary to extraordinary. And so your audience comes in here and they want to get to here. What are the steps of getting there? What's the first thing you have to do? What's the second thing you have to do? What's the third thing you have to do? We call that your proprietary process. And it's a great thing to teach in the content section of your presentation. And here's why having your own proprietary process is so important. Because there's other people in the world who do what you do. If you're helping people with their stress, you're not the only person helping them with their stress. If you're helping them with their marketing, you're not the only person helping them with their marketing. But you are the only person who does it how you do it. You're not the only person who does what you do, but you are the only person who does it exactly how you do it. Your proprietary process is absolutely unique. And so you want to make sure you've developed your own unique proprietary process as part of the content of your presentation. The content section, the head section, is the longest section of your presentation. It's also the part of your presentation that expands and contracts based on how much time you have to speak. If you have a lot of time to speak, you'll teach a lot of content. If you have less time to speak, you'll teach less content. And everything that we're talking about today, the opening heart, the content, the call to action, and the closing heart all works, whether you're selling a service, selling a product, selling coaching, selling services, financial services, anything. This helps you get any message, any cause, any word out to the world. And the first two parts are the opening heart story and the content, the head section, which brings us to the third part, which is the hands or the call to action. Now, a great presentation has one call to action. A great presentation does not get to the end and offer the audience options. We don't get to the end and say, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. A great presentation has one call to action, just one next step. If you give the audience too many options, they get scared and confused. And when people get scared and confused, they freeze and they don't make decisions. If you've ever gotten to the end of a presentation and the audience has said, I like this, but I'd like to think about it. I want to do this, but can I call you back? Never. You probably offered them too many options. Give them one next step. Now, this can be something that's free, like I'd love to have a phone conversation with you, or I'd love to have an appointment with you, a free assessment for you. I'd like to offer you a free resource. I'd love to hop on a Zoom call with you. Or it can be paid. You should sign up for my coaching. You should sign up for my course. You should come to my next event. You should buy my products or buy my services. You should sign a contract. You should become an investor. It's one call to action. And because of the way you've designed your content, it won't be as long of an offer as you have had in the past, perhaps, because you've done much of that heavy lifting in the content section of your presentation. Which brings us to the fourth and final part of the four-part story braid framework, which is the closing heart. You see, some people end their presentations with a tactical call to action, and that is a mistake. That is a mistake because there's two types of decision makers in every audience: tactical decision makers and emotional decision makers. And most people sell or teach the way that they make decisions. If you're a tactical decision maker, you're all about the tactics. If you're an emotional decision maker, you're all about the emotions. But there's both people in your audience. And you should also know this: if anything that you do is speaking to couples, or it's at a price point that someone would need the permission of their spouse or their partner to buy it, or you're speaking to business partners, you should know that most couples and most business partnerships are one tactical decision maker paired with one emotional decision maker. You better get good at both of these, because either one of those two can veto the sale. So always follow your tactical call to action with an emotional call to action where you summarize your content and inspire the audience. Sometimes this emotional call to action is a story, and sometimes it's just some words of inspiration to get the audience to emotionally take the next step. When you put these 4 parts together, heart, head, hands, and heart, you have the formula for the highest converting signature talk that you can possibly have. If you have 5 minutes, do these 4 things. If you have 45 minutes, do these 4 things. This is the key. This is why when you go to an event, you see speakers who are getting big applause, and you see other speakers who are getting people to take action. And this will get you both. This will get you both people who are willing to take action and people who are going to love you as a speaker because you actually helped them when they spoke. And so of the 4 parts of the Story Braid framework, the opening heart, the head, the content, the hands, the call to action, or the closing heart. I'd love to hear from you. Which part have you been missing? Which part have you never thought of? Which part was brand new to you today? And which part do you think is going to change your speaking forever? Because it's going to change the way you approach presenting. And you're not teasing your audience anymore. You're not trying to just sell your audience anymore. You're actually connecting. You're actually helping them. And so I'm just watching the comments come in here as people are thinking about this content. There's some people who are like, the closing heart. I've never thought of the closing heart. I've paid thousands for training, and you've given us more than that right here. The closing heart for sure. I've always ended with the tactical call to action. All 4 parts of the framework work together. That is so true. That is so true. One part doesn't work without the other. Opening heart. I've always led with my content. Opening heart is brilliant. You know, there's a lot of people out there who jump right into the content and they skip the connection piece. You can't skip the connection piece at the beginning. And there's somebody, Kirby likes the Scooby-Doo best of all. Who would have thought that was the whole thing? Ooh, I'm changing my call to action to 1 call to action. So smart, Tyson. I love that. And that's super smart as well. It's the 4 parts together that are the real power. And so when you're thinking about changing the way that you talk, changing the way that you present, I'm telling you, you do these 4 parts, this is the greatest marketing tool that your business has. And it's going to change everything that you do in your communication. When you do this correctly, this changes your website. It changes your social media. It changes how you answer the phone. It changes your sales calls. Certainly it changes your presentations, but it also changes your newsletter and how you communicate with your own employees and your own team members. Once you learn the 4-part Story Braid framework, you will use it every single day, not just for that one big presentation a year, but every day on the sideline of your kid's soccer field, in your team meetings, in your one-on-one conversations, and in your sales presentations. Amy Yamada is one of the people who learned our Story Braid framework and the Signature Talk model. She says, I use my Signature Talk framework in everything I do. I did my talk in front of 14 people at my Powerhouse retreat. Now look at the size of that audience. 14 people, and made an offer. 10 people said yes. It was my biggest week ever, $111,000. That's 14 people. If you think you have to keynote a stage with 100 people in the room, you do not. This works in boardrooms and small webinars. It works on social media. Warren Buffett said, you can improve your value by 50% just by learning communication skills, public speaking. And he understands that knowing this one communication skill can change everything. So let me give you a few things that you can do to improve the way you communicate when it comes time to deliver your signature talk. Number 1, use your voice. Vary your voice with the emotional line of the story. When the emotional line of the story is going down, lower your volume, slow your pace. When the emotional line of the story turns up, pick up your volume and pick up your pace. Talk faster and talk louder when the story gets happier, and you will help the audience follow along. Moving your body. Some people move a lot, some people move a little. There's more than one right way to do this. But here's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about moving with purpose. There's 3 different reasons why you might want to move. One reason why you might want to move is to create a contrast. You used to do it like this, now you do it like this. And if you're on a stage, you can stand over here for the old way and create a contrast with doing it over here the new way. So one reason to move is to create a contrast. Second reason to move is to pass time. When I was a child, I used to do it like this. When I was a teenager, I did it like this. Now that I'm an adult, I do it like this. And so as time passes, you move across the stage. And the last reason to move is to create a break between the topics. If you're teaching 3 or 4 topics, stand in one spot for topic 1. And then when it comes time to transition, say, that's all I have to say about that. Now I'm going to transition to my next topic. And you can slowly move across the stage as the topics change, and the spatial visual learners in the room will be following right along with you and remembering and learning more than they've ever learned before. So move your body with purpose when it comes time to move. Before, during, and after your talk, you should have routines. Before, don't forget to breathe and don't forget to move. All of the great speakers in the world, and I work with a lot of the really great speakers, the Tonys, the Pete Vargases, the Grants, the Michael Hyatts. I work with a lot of them. And they all have a pregame routine that involves movement, whether that's bouncing on a trampoline or dancing or doing jujitsu. Everybody has a routine. During your talk, make sure your mindset stays in the right place. And after your talk, make sure you follow up and continue to serve that audience powerfully. And then remember to use your signature talk everywhere. It's not just for a big presentation. It's for day-to-day conversation. It's for meeting people at a networking event. It's for sales calls. It's for internal and external communication. It's for your website and your social media. Use your signature talk everywhere. It is how you should communicate from this point forward. Tim Francis said he made back his investment with Advance Your Reach within 1 month. His signature talk is so good, he can count on closing 10% of any qualified audience he's in front of. So think about standing up in front of 50 people. 50 people on a webinar, 50 people while speaking at an event, and 5 of those people become customers. What's the value of one new customer for you? How much is one new customer worth? What if you stood up one day in front of 50 people and got 5 of those customers? What if you did that every month, all year? That's the power of a signature talk. Brian says last week on a 3-day professional education teaching tour, I linked it all together with my signature talk, a 43% conversion rate, up from his old average of 12%, with almost double in sales from the previous tours. That's the power of implementing what we are talking about today and doing what we're talking about today. I would love to share more signature talk secrets with you and walk you step by step through the full signature talk system with our signature talk secrets course. It is the complete signature talk signature talk system taught to you from start to finish. It is the exclusive story braid framework laid out for you step by step with examples and opportunities for you to see each step of the framework. It includes strategies to get the audience engaged, both online and in person. And most importantly, how to convert people to go further with you without feeling salesy, without feeling pushy, without feeling like you have to take a shower afterwards. sigtalksecrets.com is where you can learn more about this. And there are some great bonuses. The first bonus is a clarity execution workshop recording. I know when we were talking about the topic that you're going to speak on, the problem that you solve in the audience that you serve, there were some of you who weren't quite sure what the problem was that you solve yet. You don't have clarity on that yet, which is why with the Signature Talk Secrets, we include the clarity execution workshop recording. This is a recording of a workshop that walks you step by step through the process of getting answers to the most important clarity questions. Who is the audience that you're going to serve? What is the problem that you solve for them? What are the topics that you should speak on? It eliminates the guesswork and removes that big roadblock of, I don't even know who I'm serving yet. I don't even know what my topic is. We've sold this workshop alone for $49.97. This workshop alone has been sold for close to $5,000. When people attend it and they walk away having clarity of what this business actually looks like. If you're sitting out there right now and you think there's 2 different things I could do this or I could do this, this workshop will help you choose. If you're sitting out there right now wondering, is this a crazy idea or is this a real business? This workshop will help you choose, and it's included as a bonus with Signature Talk Secrets. Our second bonus is a one-on-one 15-minute Signature Talk assessment that will help you map out your talk and set you on the stage to fast track your signature talk. This is a 15-minute one-on-one call. This is not a group call. This is a one-on-one call where we're going to take a look at what you're trying to do and help you map out your talk. That's included as a bonus as well. And the third bonus, the fast acting bonus, because I know I'm not the only one who used to get nervous before I would go on stage. I'm not the only one who sometimes I'm sweating. Sometimes my hand is shaking so much I don't want to hold a microphone. Sometimes I even let those nerves and that fear stop me from taking a stage or talking about what I do and how I do it. So we have put together a full training on overcoming stage fright and speaking with confidence. Now, you have to purchase in the next 30 minutes, but that lets me know that you really want to solve this. That lets me know that you really want to serve this audience. That lets me know that you are serious about serving this audience, starting this business, and getting your message out to the world. And so the fast acting bonus for the next 30 minutes, anybody who signs up in the next 30 minutes is going to get the Overcoming Stage Fright and Speaking with Confidence Masterclass, so you can get past the nerves and get your message out to the world. So the Signature Talk Secrets course is included with this. You get the Clarity Execution Workshop recording so that you can get clarity on your topic, on your audience, and the problem that you solve. You get the 15-minute one-on-one call to help you map out your signature talk. That's a one-on-one call with one of our coaches to answer the questions that you have and overcome the obstacles that are stopping you. And the Overcoming Stage Fright and Speak with Confidence Masterclass. Altogether, this is over $5,000 worth of value. And today, you are going to pay $297. Now, this offer is going to expire in 48 hours, but for right now, it's $297, sigtalksecrets.com. The offer expires in 48 hours, and I'm telling you, whether you've never spoken on stage before, whether you've spoken a few times and it didn't go so well because you were nervous or you didn't have clarity, you were all over the place, you felt salesy, or you just didn't feel like you were an effective communicator, or you are somebody who's spoken hundreds of times to thousands of people, this is the course. This Signature Talk Secrets is what's going to put it together for you. And I'm telling you, at this price, this is going to pay for itself the first time you speak. The first time you speak, you're going to get new clients, new opportunities, maybe a new partner, maybe a new investor. Maybe you're going to meet the person who can open the right doors for you and blow up your business. But when you effectively communicate, you have the opportunity to get your message out to the world, to get new clients, new customers, new revenue, and most of all, a larger impact on the world, because you're communicating differently. You're connecting. You are helping. You are directing the audience what to do next, and you are inspiring them to do that. So you've got well over $5,000 worth of value for $297, including the fast acting bonus. If you act in the next 30 minutes for $997, go to sigtalksecrets.com to take advantage of this. And I'm telling you, this is the time to do it. You've thought about this for a while. You've had the opportunity to watch this training. And I would just love to hear in the chat, if you thought this was valuable training, just put in the chat valuable. And that's exactly how Signature Talk Secrets is going to be. And so I think Pete Vargas is coming back. Pete, I know you've used your Signature Talk to grow your businesses again and again and again. This isn't a situation where we're saying you should do one thing and doing it a different way. We walk the walk, we talk the talk, but we actually use our Signature Talk every single week. I would almost say every single day, because I've given my Signature Talk every single day for the last couple of weeks. This is how we've grown our businesses, and we know this can help other people as well. Hey, I don't know. Pete came back. Pete might not be here today. I know he's here today. He might not be on right now. I thought I saw him down in the corner, but I guess I didn't see him. Hey, I love some of these comments that are coming in right now. This is a super valuable training. This was amazing. 1,000%. Go to sigtalksecrets.com. Sigtalksecrets.com is where you go. If you thought today's training was valuable, this is going to be a huge value for you. You get the Signature Talk Secrets course, the Clarity Execution Workshop recordings, the 15-minute Signature Talk assessment. That's a one-on-one call. I mean, that alone is worth more than $297. And we're including, for those people who are taking action right now in the next 30 minutes, overcoming fear of speaking, overcoming the fear of speaking and speaking with confidence, which is a huge value. I don't know about you guys if you have stage fright, but this is something that holds a lot of people back. And I know I talk to a lot of people who say, I think the audience can hear my heart beating. I think the audience can actually see my pulse, and I know they can see me sweating, and I know they can see me shaking. This training will show you how to get around that. This training will show you how to overcome that. So that never stops you from taking the stage again. It never stops you from speaking your truth again. Because the worst thing in the world would be that you don't get your message out there. The worst thing in the world would be that your life ends and you had all this truth and help for other people bottled up inside you and it never came out. I think that you have an opportunity here to push past some of the things that have been stopping you in the past. You have an opportunity to say no to your fear and yes to serving others. And the reason I love it when you type in your audience, is because I know you're dedicated to serving them. And I know if we can get you really good at this, which the Signature Talk Secrets course will, if we can get you really good at doing this, that you are going to be able to serve that audience powerfully, that you are going to be able to help those people. People ask, is there lifetime access to this training? Yes, there is. Is the bonus for the stage fright isn't showing when you try to buy it? Trust me, if you buy it in the next 30, the reason it's not showing is because it's only for people who buy in the next 30 minutes. But if you buy in the next 30 minutes, you are absolutely going to get the stage fright training. I guarantee it. That is a promise. And so great training. Awesome. I'm glad you saw the value in this. I would love to answer some questions. If you have questions, you can type them in the chat. If you have questions, can we have people raise their hand? Is that possible to have people raise their hands? I don't know.
Oh yeah, we can have raise
all right. You can raise your hand. The way to raise your hand is to click on reactions. That's down at the bottom of the screen. When you click on reactions, do not click on the clapping hand. Do not click on the thumbs up. Do not click on the red heart. Click on raise hand. That's how you raise your hand to ask a question. If you have questions about the Signature Talk Secrets course, any of the bonuses that we're including, or anything that I've talked about here about your Signature Talk, I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to answer questions with you, or you can type them into the chat. And so Sean says he's not sure what the Signature Talk Secrets course is. Sean, the Signature Talk Secrets course will walk you step by step through the process of putting together your signature talk. It'll go deeper into each of the sections of the Signature Talk than I had time to do today, with more examples and an opportunity for you to design that part of your talk as well. And so when you're done with the Signature Talk Secrets, you'll have your talk all mapped out, all ready to go. And so it's going to walk you step by step through the whole thing. I know today's training had an opportunity to talk to you about each of the 4 parts, but this will actually show you how to design each of the 4 parts so that you can write the perfect signature talk. You get lifetime access to it. So if a year from now you decide to write a different signature talk, if your business changes, if you start a nonprofit and decide you want to start raising money for that nonprofit, you are going to have the opportunity to just watch it again and redesign your talk again. All of that is included in the Signature Talk Design Secrets. Dan is the first one with a question, up out of the chute first. Dan, how can we help you today?
I just tried to register and it said that the time that it expired.
The time had expired. Dan, I'm going to have somebody reach out to you privately and get you signed up for it. And so that is, we'd love to have that. I'm told Pete Vargas is in here and he just needs to be unmuted. So let's get Pete on here. He would love to come on.
Hey guys. Hey Dan, welcome. And if we can change the view here, guys, that would be awesome, team. Dan, welcome to Signature Talk. I just believe this is one of the greatest tools that you have, PQ, like one of the greatest tools that you have. The training that Pat did. Hey, how many of you just enjoyed that training? Like Pat Quinn is a savant. Like he's a savant in this. It's out of this world. Here is one of the reasons why people don't get enough customers. I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons. The number one reason people don't get enough customers is because they don't have clarity on the problem they solve and who they want to serve that actually speaks the customer's language. Some people don't have clarity, and other people think they do have clarity, but they're not landing customers. First group, you got to get clarity. Second group, the reason you're not landing customers is because you're not speaking their lingo. I see this time after time after time. That's the first thing you've got to make sure you have. And that's why for one of the first times, not the first time, but one of the first times ever, you're getting access to the Clarity Execution Workshop that we've done in the past for $5,000. You're getting access to that as one of the bonuses that's included. Once you have clarity, the second thing that's so critical is having an incredible talk. Having a talk.
This guy has.
And the core curriculum,
That's what I needed.
the core curriculum that you're getting through this is the Signature Talk secrets. It's going deep into each part of the story braid framework. And so that's the core curriculum that I would want you to go through. That's the core curriculum. But being able to get the Clarity Execution Workshop is so profound and so powerful. Now, here's the piece that everybody wishes they could get. Could I just get a little bit of one-on-one time with you? Well, you can. My one-on-one time breaks out to be about $12,000 to $15,000 an hour. Pat's is very high as well. But the beautiful thing that Pat has done is he's trained a lot of our coaches who help give a little bit of one-on-one time. And so every person that's taking action by this is going to get a Signature Talk assessment on your Signature Talk, a power call to help you really bounce some things off. And if any of you are like me, or definitely like my wife, that stage fright is a real thing. It's real. People would rather die than speak in public. Well, that's a shame because Warren Buffett said there's no other, this skill can be one of the greatest things that has your business grow, the skill of communication. And so Pat has designed an incredible bonus PQ that's helping people overcome the stage fright, overcoming their stage fright. And so guys, the core curriculum coupled with the 3 bonuses that are being included, an absolute brainer, no brainer to take advantage of. And PQ, I hope that they do today. I love what you're offering in the market. I love what we're doing in the market. We've helped thousands and thousands of customers get results with huge customer satisfaction scores. And I hope folks that are watching this will take advantage of this today. We're having a few folks say that the sigtalksecrets.com isn't working, but keep trying. And we're getting that as a trend now, and it could be because of the number of people that are going to that actually is a real thing with pages, So Rachel and team, I'm seeing that in the chat. Please make sure, guys, if you're having any issues, Eric just said it worked. Congratulations, Eric. It looks like a lot of people are taking action, and it could be just that things are down. But here's the cool thing, PQ, and I'm going to turn it back over to you. If people are having trouble, just drop your number. We have real live people who really care about the success of our customers that will hop on the phone with you and make sure that you get taken care of. And why is that kind of a joke? Because a lot of people do not have customer care. There's just not a customer care. You can email the customer support. We have emailing customer support. That's something we do, but we will take care of you on a phone call and make sure that you're taken care of. and all as well. So PQ, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Great training today. And I'm going to let you continue to answer some more questions of people here who've got their hands raised.
Hey, thanks, Pete. Give some love in the chat for Pete Vargas, a true master of the craft and somebody who has used a signature talk to grow business after business after business for years. And now we're sharing all the secrets with you, how the signature talk can be designed, how you can get clarity, everything that you need to make a signature talk become the greatest marketing tool that you have in your business. Once again, the Signature Talk Secrets course and the Clarity Execution Workshop. The Clarity Execution Workshop helps you get clarity on the audience that you serve, the problem that you solve, and the topic that you will speak around. And then the Signature Talk Secrets course will take that audience and that problem that you solve and design the perfect signature talk around it. There's a one-on-one 15-minute call included, so you can get your questions answered, so you can have a second set of eyes, look at this call, look at this topic, look at this talk, and assess it and give input on it. And of course, if nerves or fear or shaking or your heart pounding in your chest is anything that happens to you, act in the next 30 minutes. It will include the overcoming the fear of speaking and speak with confidence as well. Go to sigtalksecrets.com to get all of this for $297. And that is absolutely an amazing price. Robert Mendy looks like he is up next for a question. Robert, what can we help you with today? First thing we can do is, there you go. Talk to us.
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay, perfect. Yes. So I was wondering, so obviously this is phenomenal, but for someone that was actually thinking about, I guess, signature on demand, I guess, and plus Sig Talk, I guess in Milwaukee coming up either January or February, is it the same thing as getting pretty much this Sig Talk if I wanted to do that?
This is different than that. That is, that's a 2-day workshop. That's different than this. And the stages on demand that you talk about is different than this. So if that's the direction that you're headed, that is the place that you should be. And I think that's where you should stick with. I think you're on the right track with that. So Ryan Rigtarink is next. Ryan, how are you today? You are muted. That's how you are.
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. What can I help you with today?
Actually, I had the same question, except out in Minneapolis. Is that the 10X thing, the 2-day thing?
The 10X 2-day workshop covers more topics than this. This is focused specifically on signature talk. The 10X Stages workshop is an amazing 2-day workshop, and if you're signed up for that, you should attend that. That's different than this.
Okay. Would this be good prep work in anticipation for that or no?
Yeah, it'd be great prep work, but it is not a substitute for that.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you. Gilbert Mitchell is next. What can we answer for you?
Hello.
Hey.
Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it, Pat Quinn. I was also part of your other program that you have that starts with the Q. Can't think of it. But my question is, thank you for saying about how we need to not hint at a solution, but give the solution. My question is, how do you balance giving some of your framework, which is your IP, but not going so deep into it that they don't move forward with your coaching program or the services you provide?
Oh, that's a great question. And the answer is time. Time will always be your limiter, because you're not going to speak. The first time you meet somebody, you're not going to speak to them for 3 days. The first time you meet somebody, you're not going to speak to them for even 4 hours. The 45-minute time frame of a keynote presentation or a webinar will always limit the amount of content you can teach and will always limit how deep you can go. And there is a powerful, powerful, powerful human dynamic that is, here's the name of it: teaching part of a list. Teaching part of a list. And so if I would tell you that the 2 best books of the year, was actually there was a headline that I read that said the 2 best books of the year, I can tell you the two best books of the year. The two best books of the year were Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Fairy Tale. Those were the two best books of the year, according to Amazon this year. Now, those are the first two books on a list of the top 10 books of the year. You know what everybody here wants right now? What are the other 8 books? Tell us, what's number 3? I'd love to know what number 3 is. Did I read number 3? Like, what's number 4? Have I read number 4? Like, when you teach part of a list, there is just a human dynamic that wants the rest of the list. And so when you're limited by 45 minutes, you can always teach part of your framework. You can always teach part of your content, but you'll always be able to say, we can go deeper, we can go further. This is 3 steps of an 8-step process. I'm going to go into each of these shortly, but I want to go into them deeply with you. Like, it is such a powerful dynamic. Here's what I know. In your talk, if you can help someone get from A to B and give them a real win, then they will pay you to go from A to Z. They will pay you to go the whole way. And if you teach them your framework, you can always give them the option at the end. Do you want to do it on your own? Or do you want to do it with me? Or do you want me to do it for you? And you'll be amazed what % of people actually want you to do it with them or do it for them. It works every single time. So great question. Sean McMullen is up next. Hey, Sean, what can we answer for you?
Can you hear me, Pat? You actually answered my question. I had typed it in the chat box. I just wanted a little clarification on what the actual course was. So I've checked out at this point. I'm excited to move forward.
That's great. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you for taking the time to do this today. It was awesome.
Oh, we're thrilled that you're going to be part of Signature Talk Secrets. It's going to be a great course, and get the Clarity Workshop too. I mean, the Clarity Workshop is just an amazing value. We used to sell that workshop for $5,000. But we know how important it is to writing the perfect signature talk. So we know it's an important part to include here as well. Clara Dunham is next. Hey, Clara, what can we answer for you? Clara seems to have stepped away for a moment. So we're going to move on to Bradley. Bradley Jacobs is next. Bradley, what can we answer for you?
How you doing, boss? So
can you hear me?
We'll get back to you in a second, Clara. Go ahead, Bradley.
All right, so I bought the signature talk, and I'm coming to, I think, Milwaukee. It is in January. Is the course included in that or no?
The course is not included in that, but what you'll get at the workshop includes what's in the course, because I'm going to be there live with you. So that's not the course would not be a substitute for that. I think you should just come to Milwaukee. Okay,
and then I was scheduled, I think, for the onboarding sometime soon. How do I find out when that is? I never got an email with the onboarding.
Bradley, we will have somebody reach out to you. Miranda will reach out to you this week. Okay. If somebody backstage can make note and send Miranda a note to reach out to Bradley Jacobs, we'll get that taken care of right away. So we have onboarding dates coming up. That is the one-day clarity that you'll get right there.
Perfect. All right. See you in January. Thanks, buddy.
Look forward to it. Now we can go back to Clara. Clara, are you ready for us?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what can we help you with?
My question is there a coupon number or something like that? Because I think that's one of the issues I'm having when I'm trying to process the order, is asking for an coupon number or what is that noise? For a coupon number or for a product name. And I cannot continue the process of the order because I don't have that.
Clara, why don't you drop your phone number in the chat? We'll have somebody reach out to you and take your order right over the phone.
All right. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thanks. And if there's anybody else struggling to get their credit card to process, or the form's getting stuck somewhere, just drop your number into the chat. We'd be happy just to give you a call and make sure that you have no issues whatsoever. Laura Jean, we would love to hear from you. And Razik, looks like Razik is up first. What's the question today, Razik?
Hi, Pat. Thanks so much for doing this. Great talk. So my question was about how do we apply the 4-step story braid process when it comes to shorter marketing efforts such as social media? Is it something that you do in a campaign, or is it from something like a bit more arbitrary than that?
Well, it depends on the format of your social media. If I were going to go on Facebook Live today, the very first thing I would do when I hit live and the camera's on is look right into the camera and connect with my audience around the heart. Like, hey, everybody, I don't know about you, but I'm battening down the hatches and getting ready for the blizzard that's gonna come this week, or talk about whatever, the end of the year. I don't know about you, but at the end of the year, I find my life gets so busy, I don't have time to do the things I want to do. And then go into one piece of teaching, teach one great thing. Hey, so I'm going to give you the one thing you can do to lower the stress near the end of the year. And it is to remember to take time for yourself. So teach something, and then give a single call to action. If you want to learn more, because that one strategy I gave you to reduce stress is off my list of the 9 things you can do to reduce stress every single day of your life. If you'd like to get the full list of 9 things you can do to reduce stress, click on the link down below, and I'd be happy to send you the full list. And then I'd leave them with some inspiration at the end. And remember, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. So take care of yourself first. Click on the link below and let's start taking care of you.
Wow,
and
that's
so
amazing.
In 1 minute on Social Media Live, I connected about stress over the end of the year. I taught one strategy to reduce stress. I gave them a call to action. Click the link to get the rest of the list. Remember, one of the most powerful human dynamics is to teach part of a list to make people want the rest of the list. And then I gave some inspiration at the end. If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. So let's start taking care of you, all in 60 seconds. So you can do this in a short format. Now you can also spread it out over time. If I had a weekly newsletter, or I was somebody who posted every day, day 1, tell your story. Day 2, teach great content. Day 3, teach great content. Day 4, teach great content. That's 3 sections of content. Day 5, give a call to action. Day 6, give an inspirational or emotional call to action, reinforcing the call to action. Day 7, start again with your story because you've got a whole bunch of new fans or followers. And you can kind of just go through the story braid framework as a rotational cycle. I see a lot of newsletters that do that as they go through their weekly newsletter. I see a lot of people who post on social media: story, content, 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 offer, emotional offer. Story, content, 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 offer, emotional offer. They're just cycling through the story braid framework with their posts on social media. So you can do it all at once, or you can spread it out, but use the story braid framework.
Holy cow, that's amazing. Thank you.
You betcha. Laura Jean is next. Hey, Laura Jean, what can we help you with today?
Hi, I have, I have 2 questions. One is, what's the difference between this and the Advance Your Reach?
Advance Your Reach is a company, and this is a product offered by Advance Your Reach. So this is a product that Advance Your Reach sells. Advance Your Reach is the name of the company.
Oh, okay. So I know I've gotten some other, anyway, okay, never mind then.
All right.
The other question is, where do testimonials fit in?
Testimonials are actually examples. The best testimonial is somebody who's used your content to actually change their lives. And so rather than saving them for the end of your presentation and using them during your offer, I love it when you actually tell a story during your content teaching. Like today, I told a story about Lavana, who changed her opening story. That's actually a testimonial. And I told a story about Amy Yamada, who used our 4-part process to make $111,000 in one day. Those are actually testimonials, but I always attach them to the content that the person used to get those results. And so I like to use my testimonials in my content because it's actually attached to the content that caused it to happen.
Okay, awesome. And then is this program, are they pre-recorded, where you're watching videos?
So the online course Signature Talk Secrets, the online course Signature Talk Secrets is pre-recorded so that you can use it on your own schedule and you have lifetime access to it. But included with it is a one-on-one call that is absolutely live. One of our coaches is going to call you, and you're going to call them, you're going to connect, and you're going to have a chance to ask any questions that you have, overcome any obstacles that you have. They'll look at your specific topic, talk, and business, and speak right into that. So it's kind of a mix between pre-recorded and live one-on-one coaching.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you. Eric is next. We got time for 4 more questions. Eric, what can I do for you?
Hi, Pat. Great talk today. This is great content. I wanted to ask you, and I think you answered part of it. If you're doing a social media outreach, prospecting, someone else is working from your team, how do you adapt and still follow the rules of this process? I mean, is it just by pre-recorded video, or what do you recommend there?
Well, I think a couple of things. It's a great question because a lot of us have teams that are doing part of the communication, whether that's our newsletter, whether it's sales calls. And so, first of all, I would teach every single person on your team this methodology. I would teach them the signature talk secrets. I'd make sure they all have clarity on the problem that we solve and the audience that we serve. Second, I think when you're using social media, it can be a mix of other people posting on your behalf on your message and you recording things that can be posted. And then third of all, just make sure if they're posting, they're following the rhythm. You know, I follow social media accounts that are offer, and I just unfollow them. I also follow social media accounts that are story, and they never teach me anything or actually move me to take action. So think about that rhythm: connection, story, content, offer, emotional offer. You know, you should teach that to your team so that when they're posting, they're keeping that rhythm. They're keeping that rhythm, if that makes sense. So those are my thoughts. Jason Webb is next, and then we have time for Dan and John, and that's going to wrap it up for today. Jason is next.
Hi, Pat. I purchased the program just a little bit ago, and one of the next screens that pops up speaks about stage to scale, which is a $700 product. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Stage to scale is more comprehensive than this. There's 3 parts to stage to scale: the signature talk part, which is signature talk secrets; the product, which is how to develop your first or next product; and stages, how to take that talk and get it onto stages. So stage to scale is more comprehensive. It covers more topics. Signature talk secrets is focused specifically on the #1 marketing tool that your business is going to have, which is your signature talk.
Okay.
Dan Conroy is next. Hey, Dan.
I asked a question earlier, but I did not realize the connection between Advance Your Reach and what you were doing today. And I've got an appointment booked with someone at the end of January. And one of the things that I noticed when you were doing it, I've been in Toastmasters for many years, and they tell them what you're going to tell them, then you tell them, then you tell them what you told them. And I love the format that you're suggesting for it. And I just realized that you did the whole thing that way with us today.
Awesome.
You did the exact same formula through the entire presentation.
Yeah, is there a question?
And the question is that I got something scheduled as the end of January. Do I need to change it? And when is someone going to call in terms of the not being able to get on to get the program?
So you have something scheduled in January, meaning you have a speaking engagement in January?
No, I have something scheduled with the Advance Your Reach people at the end of January. And
what do you have scheduled? A call or a workshop?
Yeah, a call. But he didn't use the 4 steps with me.
Well, I think
I got it then.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think we'll have somebody reach out to you. If you dropped your phone number into the chat, we'll have somebody reach out to you as soon as we can get to you. As you can see, there's a lot of people dropping their numbers in the chat right now. Okay. But in addition to that, I think I would keep that other call too, because the only thing better than one one-on-one coaching call is 2 one-on-one coaching calls. And it sounds like you're going to get 2.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. You bet. John is next, and then we'll have time for Joan, and then we'll wrap up this training. What's up, John? Can you unmute? There you go.
All right. Yeah, great content. I love it. There's been some confusion. I typed a question in. I don't know if you covered it. I stepped away for a minute. But is the origin story and the signature story one and the same?
Well, sometimes your origin story is your opening heart story in your signature talk. The most important function of the opening heart story is to connect with the audience. You have to connect with the audience. And so if you have multiple stories, a founder's story, a story about the time you almost died, or a different story, how do you choose the right story to start with? And here's the simple answer. Which of those stories would the maximum number of people nod their heads and say that same thing happened to me? That's the most important story. That's the best story to start with. So if your founder's story is very similar to your audience's story, it's a great story to start with. If your origin story or the story about the time you almost died is like, I was talking to somebody the other day and they said, oh, I'm going to start my presentation with the time I got in a car accident and I almost lost my leg. And they said, is that the right story to start with? And I said, yes. If most of your audience has gotten in a car accident and almost lost their leg. If not, then there's probably a better story, because your goal of the opening story is to connect, to get the maximum number of people to nod their heads and lean in. And that is the right story to start with. So that might be your origin story. It might not. And your one-on-one coaching call is going to be a great time to figure that out.
Got it. Great. Thank you.
Awesome. The last question of the night goes to Joan Butler. Hey, Joan, how are you today?
Hi, Pat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. Yes. And that you have different offerings for all of us. So one of my questions is I did just sign up for the course.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. And so I want to know, I'm already signed up for I think it's On Demand, the year course.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I just went to log into the course and it already has like a password and stuff. So is it like when you sign up for other courses, does it all go into one so you have the same password and email and everything?
We have a number of course platforms that we use, and it's possible you already have a username and a password in our course platform because of another course. It could be something from Stages on Demand, or it could be something from another course. And so it's very possible you already have a username and a password at that course platform. So if you have trouble logging in and seeing Signature Talk Secrets, just let us know. Otherwise, enjoy the course. Congratulations. It's got it's got the clarity workshop. It's got it all. You're going to love it.
And one other question is just how do you guys schedule that 15-minute call?
We'll reach out to you and you'll get word about clicking on a calendar link to schedule that call.
Okay, great. Okay. Thank you again for today. Thanks.
You bet. Hey, I just want to encourage you again to think about how you're communicating, what you do and how you do it, and the impact that could have if you could get better at that. What if a higher percentage of people that you spoke to said yes to going deeper with you? What if a higher percentage of people that you spoke to said yes to becoming clients? What would the revenue impact be? And what would the impact on the world be? And so the offer that we would love to work with you on is the Signature Talk Secrets course and the Clarity Execution Workshop recordings. The Clarity Execution Workshop will get you clarity on those big questions. What is the problem you're solving? Who are you solving it for? What's the topic that you're speaking on? Is this really a business? And which of the 7 businesses that are floating around in my head is the one that I should speak on? And then Signature Talk Secrets will help you design the perfect signature talk, step by step through the 4 parts of the Story Braid framework. We also are including a one-on-one call. I'm telling you, at this price, to have a one-on-one coaching call is absolutely unheard of. A one-on-one call to help you get clarity, to help look at your signature talk, map it out, overcome any obstacles, and answer any questions that you have. And if you act in the next 30 minutes, and if you've reached out to us in the chat and you're trying to get through, you've acted in the next 30 minutes. So whenever we get a hold of you, trust me, we know that you reached out right away. We'll get a hold of you and you'll get the bonus, overcoming the fear of speaking and speaking confidently. That masterclass training was life-changing for so many people. And I want to give you access to it. So you never are shaking. You never are sweating through all of your clothes. You never lose your voice, forget what you're going to say, or are afraid to take a stage because of nerves. Your heart might still be pounding on the inside, but that's because you know what you do matters and that you're helping people, and it's exciting to do that. but you won't let fear and nerves stop you from speaking anymore. All of that together, over $6,000 in value for $297. SigTalkSecrets.com. SigTalkSecrets.com is the website to take advantage of all of that. I want to thank you for being part of our training tonight. I want to thank you for your commitment to serving the audience that you said you served, because I know this. Right now, today, there is someone struggling with a problem that you have the solution to. And the only thing stopping them from getting help is how you communicate. They don't know you yet, and they are going to continue to struggle until you get better at this. They're going to continue to struggle until you have a signature talk. They are going to continue to struggle until you get your message out to the world. So go to sigtalksecrets.com and sign up, and let's get your message out to the world. Thanks for being part of tonight's training.